Hello and welcome to how to play the mechanical tournament. As you can see, we're going to be using print and play cards with different colored card sleeves. Now they do have actual card backs that I designed, so you can print them double-sided and play with them with their actual card backs. But for this example, I didn't want to use too much ink, so I just printed them out and sleeved them as they are. So how you play is first you want to set up the game. So when you set up the game, you're going to split up the different cards into 5 different decks based on color. So you have red, purple, blue, green, and yellow. Now, this game is split into 3 different phases. You have the drafting phase, the turns phase, and the scoring phase, which is at the end of the game. So how do we do drafting? Well, first and foremost, you're going to decide a player to go first, let's say me, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a card to draw from one of these 5 decks. Let's say I draw a green card. So this green card goes to my leftmost position. You're going to want 8 cards in front of you by the end of this, so you're going to have to leave some room because you're always going to place the card to the leftmost position that's open. Now we're going to do a snake draft. So I have my friend George here, and they're going to go ahead and draw maybe a yellow card to start with. And because we're doing a snake draft, meaning we each take turns and then the last player gets to pick again and we go in reverse order, we're going to go ahead and have George pick again. Maybe they'll pick a green card this time. And now it's me. I got to choose. I'll pick maybe a red card and let's say a purple card just for funsies. And then now it's going to be George's turn. They'll pick blue, maybe purple, and it gets passed back to me. Now, what you can do during this phase is you may always look at your face down cards, see what they are, but you cannot change the order of the cards. So the way I drew them, I have to keep them that way, and I can't look at my opponent's cards. So knowing that, okay, I have this purple card next, maybe I'll draw a different purple card and just put that there. And of course, again, we're doing snake draft order, so I take another card. Maybe I'll take a yellow this time. And then George would pick their 2 cards. Maybe they'll pick a purple and a red. Maybe I'll pick a red and another red, let's say. And then they are going to pick maybe a yellow and one more yellow. And that will round them out. And because I have 7 cards in front of me, that means I just need to take one more card. So let's say I take a blue card and boom, that's it. We have all 8 cards in front of each player. And now that means that is the end of the drafting phase. Now we go into phase 2, taking turns. So the way you take turns, there are 3 different things you can do on your turn. The first 2 are optional, the last one is mandatory. So the first thing you may do on your turn is you may draw a card from one of these decks and replace one of the cards in your machine. So the thing is again, you can take a look at each of your cards, see what works and what doesn't, but you may want to keep the cards as they are. We'll talk about that later, but let's say I really don't like this yellow card. This yellow card really doesn't work for me, so I want to, let's say, draw a green card. I'll take it, I'll take a look at it, and I'll say, this card really works well. I'm going to go ahead and remove this card from the game and replace it with my green card. Now, essentially what this means is on your turn, you may draw a card, and if you do, you must replace a card from your machine with that new card that you drew. Even if you don't like that new card that you drew, you have to replace a card in your machine, and specifically a face down card, because your cards will be flipped face up later on. So just keep in mind you're only replacing your face down cards. The second thing you can do on your turn is you may switch any 2 cards that are currently in play. So for example, I can switch these 2 cards if I think their positions are wrong and I want to change their positioning, or maybe I want to change my opponent's positioning and screw them up a bit by switching this green and this yellow, or perhaps I want to do something else such as stealing a card. So I can switch one of my cards with one of their cards, and you don't have to switch cards if you don't want to. The last thing, again, is mandatory. You have to flip over your leftmost card and make it face up, and that's how you play these different turns. So now let's say George does their turn. They get to draw a card if they so choose and replace it apart. They can then switch any 2 cards, including face up cards, if they want to, mess with me or whatever. And then they must reveal their leftmost card and play continues. And now it's my turn. And let's say I do my turn. I flip over my leftmost card. Then they do theirs. And once all these cards are flipped face up, the game ends and we move on to the scoring phase. So scoring is pretty simple. Each player is just going to go from left to right and score points based on how many they have, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So the reason why order is important, like for example this card, which says you gain 2 points but you cannot use your next card. So this card would ordinarily give me 1 point if the left card is yellow, and 1 additional point if the right card is yellow, but I'm not able to use that effect because of this canceling it out. So you're going to have to balance all these different types of things when you are creating your contraption. And at the end of the game, again, whoever has the most points wins. So let's talk about why you might pick drawing red cards over purple cards or green cards over yellow. The way you can think about it is yellow cards are positional. So each yellow card is going to score if it is in a certain position on your track. For example, this card would score 1 point if it's in the last 3, and there are some that will score you like 3 points if it is exactly your first card. So there's a lot of potential strategy with your yellow cards there. There are the green cards. Green cards are mostly support cards. They mostly help out your other cards. For example, as you can see here, the next card is used additional time. So in this case, using the next card additional time would make you lose an additional point, but generally you would want to attach it to some card that would do an additional benefit. So that's what the green cards do. They add numbers to the next card you use. They make you use your next card multiple times, or they even act as multiple colors. For example, this card is green and red. This card is green and purple. And there are various green cards that act like that. There are also blue cards. Blue cards are pretty much global benefits. So as you can see, this card says for all players, each player gains 2 points per every 2 blue cards they have. Or this one says the player with the most green cards, or tied for most, gains 3 points. And there are a bunch of different cards that essentially say, hey, everyone gains a certain amount of points as long as you meet these conditions. So that's essentially what the blue cards are. And these you might want to take because they're worth a lot of points, but also because you can switch them for someone else's card, give them the blue card, and guess what? You still get the benefit. You drew the blue card at first, you gave it to them, now they're stuck with it, but you still gain the benefit. So there's a lot of strategy there as well. You have the purple cards. These ones are a little bit more detrimental. Again, you can use the switch tactic, give them away. As you can see, -1 point. This one makes you skip your next card, but it gives you 2 points. The important thing is that there's some risk and benefit with this type of card. The purples give you 1 point per purple you have. So some purples, like there's 2 purples out of the 10 in the deck that will do that, and they are very powerful. And you even have some self synergy with the purples. For example, you can gain 2 points, skip your next card. If your next card is -1 point, guess what? That's just +2 points without losing anything. And then you can gain 3 points if you have another purple. Anyways, there's a lot of things you can do, but these are very risky. And the last type of card is the red card. These red cards are positional as well in a sense. They pay attention to what cards are adjacent to them. So for example, these cards will give you 1 point if the color left of it is blue, and then this card will also give you an additional point if the color right to it is blue. There are other types as well. For example, this will give you 3 points if both the left card is yellow and the right card is yellow. This one gives you 1 point if one or the other, and can be up to 2 points if both are blue, but this one will only give you points if both are yellow, but it's worth quite a few points. And there's a bunch of cards like that. Some are same colors, some are non-existent, like if it's the first card or if it's the last card, and so on. But that's essentially the broad strokes of the game. So that's how you play the mechanical tournament. Again, this is a print and play game, so you can go ahead, download it for free in the description below, and let me know what you think of it. Thanks for watching.